Hey folks, so here we've got a cinema plan and we're looking, as it's a new build, for solutions on where to put the aircon vents. So where we are in Perth, very warm space, but even if you've got like a basement style cinema, once you close up the room, we get that nice and acoustically disconnected from other spaces. That also results in a major lack of airflow. If you then unlucky enough, or what is most common really, is the projector is inside that same space and the electronics are often in the same space as well. Now, the projection and the electronics will create heat, people in the room creates heat, and then you've got no airflow and you end up with a very muggy and rather uncomfortable room after a while. So we find that cinema rooms usually get warmer quicker than most other spaces because of those reasons. So having some level of airflow, or rather air conditioning, to condition the room back into the temperature that suits you. I know for many of my clients, particularly here in hot Australia summer, going to the movies was an escape from the heat, and it was really important for them to have a really great aircon so they could feel more of a chill and bring back the memories of when they were kids escaping the heat. That was sort of an important element. Either which way you look at it, some control of air is important, and it's often going to be rather independent to other rooms in the house. So having a shared aircon system, like a ducted system that isn't zoned, may not work very well. And just on ducted systems, often they result in pushing air into the room, which requires on air to flow back out of the room. So you need a return air system, and a return air system and a intake system can result in noise connection to other spaces as well. So this boils down to likely the most simple result is a dedicated split aircon, which will circulate the air in the room. So it's not necessarily going to give you extra fresh air from the outside, but you can get really great filters. Mitsubishi's Plasma Duo we found is fantastic. It's got a great filtration system. It will clean up the air in that space while it, you can do that without it cooling down the room, as it can act as a filter, and it also can filter as it cools down the room. Of course, being a split system, this means that it also can warm up the space. So when it does get a little bit cool, you can gently put on the heating, and you've just got the temperature that's right for you every single time. So now, putting an aircon in the room, okay, we get that that's important. A whole bunch of reasons why. So where to put the aircon? Now, there's an important place not to put the aircon. Now, one of these is right in the projection beam. So this is a plan view here of the new design we're putting together. Like I say, we've got to plan out the aircon for these folks. Now, if they were to put, say, a ceiling split system up here, in this particularly this high concentration of the projection beam, what's going to occur is as the light passes through the cool air and the warmer air, it's going to change because there's going to be a concentration of, say, cool air in this spot. We're going to get a mirage effect on the screen. We're going to kind of like see the fumes flowing through the image of the screen. So if we're looking for a beautiful 4K ultra high resolution image, and we then have a mirage effect because of the different temperatures through the beam, we've really gone down to standard definition in those parts of the screen. Now, they can be a little bit unnoticed, but also they can become rather apparent, and at the end of the day, last thing we need to do is lower our resolution and risk the experience of the room. So there may be a number of systems out there where you go, oh my gosh, I've done that, and then when you have a look at it, you go, far out, we have actually got that problem. It just might not have been so obvious. So rectifying that will result in a better picture. So we know that particularly in the early part of the beam, it's going to affect the picture the most. Up the front here, a little bit of aircon, say from the side, is only going to maybe affect a tiny part of the screen, and if it's flowing from the side, it has 2-3 feet for the air to drop down. Of course, cool air is going to drop down first, and it's going to mediate or become a lot more temperate you're not going to have that drastic change of temperature, which is going to create the mirage effect. Or in Perth, in WA, West Australia, we like to call it like the Nullarbor Plain effect. We've got like a 90 kilometer, it's like a 50-mile, perfectly straight road in the desert. And as you look off to the distance, it's just this blur. It's crazy because the heat out there is just insane. So anyway, we now know that running cool air through a mild room is going to create this issue. So away from the beam. The other thing is that you may not want to necessarily put the aircon directly onto the seats, because some seats are going to get the icy chill and other seats are in a more mild location. So you want to sort of balance it out so all the seats get a good flow. So actually I'll just drop in the bird's eye view here of a typical split aircon system. So we pop it over on the sidewall here. We're a good distance away from the beam, but it's likely this seat is going to chill, you know, the first or more directly. So actually putting it maybe behind the seats. Now, of course, the bar here is a secondary row, a more active row, so not as fundamental as the primary row of seats here. So putting it through the back of the room can actually eliminate that direct chill, allow that air to mediate in the room and create a general cooling, which is advantageous. Same goes, you know, you could bring it further up into the room here. That air can drop down, mediate, not really have a direct air through that beam, so that's going to work. These cassette style split air cons, which are more squarish in shape, but if that air were to go directly down from the ceiling right in that beam, yep, our Nullarbor Plain desert mirage effect is going to occur. So yeah, just checking out, you know, where this thing needs to go for this client, so they can make some decisions around obviously the plumbing, the wiring, the construction, ensure that the drainage system for the aircon is going to be suitable. It's likely, I know this side of the house is the dead end of the house, so plumbing it out to the left here is going to be a whole lot more practical than out the right side as we see it, because this is another room, and then below this space is actually their entertaining area. So the aircon over here isn't going to be very pretty unless they put extra effort in piping to get it all the way across here. So it's looking very favorable. It's going to go somewhere here. Of course, we've got a surround speaker in this portion of the room. That's this guy angled in. That is much lower down the room than the aircon, so we know that that will generally work fine. Just give another perspective here. Quite high ceilings actually in this project. So it could pop up there, and you know, that's going to cool the air down generally, not blast anyone, stay away from the beam. So guys, thought I'd share that one as we are working away, creating the perfect cinema for these folks. To stay all across it, check out our YouTube and social media where we share a whole lot more, and our website which shares more inspiration and services on how we can help create the dream cinema for you. I'm Scott Rogan, head designer at Rogue Home Cinema, and yeah, remember to check us out on other platforms. Bye.